Welcome to Puebla. Hey guys, I made it to Puebla. This is the fourth biggest city in Mexico. It has a 50-block city center that is absolutely beautiful. It is UNESCO World Heritage and the buildings are so colorful. A lot of them are tiled. A lot of them also have domes. But aside from that, Puebla is especially known for the gastronomy. Last night I already tried the enmoladas, which are a lot like enchiladas, but instead of chili sauce, they have mole. There were 3 different moles on the enchiladas and on the enmoladas. One of them was the mole poblano, which is the most famous mole, and the other ones were with sauce of pipián, which is basically pumpkin seed sauce. There was a green one and a red one. It wasn't my favorite meal. To be honest, I'm glad I've had it over with and now I can move on to a lot more delicious food. I arrived yesterday with the BlaBlaCar from Cuernavaca, and as always, I really enjoyed the ride. The landscape was unbelievable. I then took an Uber to get to the hostel, and on the way here we could see the International Barroco Museum, which is quite a bit out of the city center. It's an amazing building, but me personally, I'm not that interested in it, so I won't be visiting it, but just so you know, it's here. I'm going to Cholula and the biggest pyramid in the world, and a lot more fun and beautiful stuff. So let's go. I have made it to the city center, and you can hear the bells from the Cathedral of Puebla, and these are the highest twin towers in Mexico. It is so calm in the city today. There is barely any traffic because today is the national holiday. They are celebrating 200 years of independence, and I think a lot of people are still in bed.
This is the Zocalo, or the main square of Puebla. At the moment it is closed off because of the national holiday, because they don't want too many people crowding together, which is unfortunate but understandable. And right over there is the cathedral. Along the Zocalo you have these galleries where you can find a lot of food. This house is called the Casa de los Muñecos, obviously because of the men.
Gracias. ¿Es de chile en nogada?
Es de nogada.
This is the Alley of the Frogs, or in Spanish, the Callejon de los Sapos. Here you can find lots of antiques and hidden treasures. You can also visit the artisanal market and the flea market that is usually going on in these streets, where people sell all their beautiful artisanal products. You can also find the typical Talavera pottery, which is glazed terracotta pottery. I really wish I could buy souvenirs, but I still have more than half of my trip ahead, and I don't want to buy stuff that weighs a lot and that can possibly break. If not, I would definitely buy some of the pottery. Like, they are so beautiful. But anyway, on to the next thing. It's official, the museums are closed today, which means I will have to come back tomorrow. But it's okay because the hostel is super close to everything, so I can easily do it tomorrow. On the main square, I just saw a tram bus that does tours around the city, but also around Cholula, and they are very inexpensive. The Cholula guided tour is about 140, and the city tour of an hour is only 100, so I might do that instead. Aside from the Callejon de los Sapos, you can also go to El Parian artisan market, where they have a lot of beautiful artisanal stuff as well, but there wasn't much going on this day because of the national holiday.
Apparently there is also a museum you can visit about the pottery. I am now at the Avenida 6 Oriente, which should be the Calle de los Dulces. And if you don't speak Spanish, dulce is sweets, and they have a lot of typical sweets here in Puebla.
Tortitas de Santa Clara, el camote. jamoncillo.
¿Y eso, borrachitos, tiene
Licor.
algo de licor?
Sí.
Okay.
Esta es una galleta de vainilla horneada y su cubierta es de dulce de pepita. Este es el tradicional camote, es un como tubérculo muy parecido a la papa, pero no es papa. Ya lo único que se le agrega es la fruta natural.
Okay.
The next stop is the old Mercado La Victoria.
I just had a delicious molote, which is basically an empanada that you can fill up with whatever you want. And I chose for tinga, which is also a traditional dish from here. It's chicken with some kind of red sauce, and it was so good. They add on some salsas and crema, and I think it is one of my favorite meals I've had in Mexico. And it only cost 30 pesos, 30 pesos. At the candy store, I did buy some snacks, so I'm now going to try them with you. So these are the borrachitos, which literally translated are drunk people or drunk things, because they have liquor in them. Good that I've just eaten, right? I mainly taste a lot of sugar. Next up is the camote or batata dulce, which is basically sweet potato with lots of fruit. So let's try it out. This one is from Charrito. The ones from Santa Clara are very well known. This one is with strawberry flavor, which the lady at the shop recommended. You can really feel the sweet potato structure. You can taste it as well. It's okay. I'm overall not really a sweets kind of person, but I definitely prefer this to the borrachitos. And then lastly are the tortitas de Santa Clara, which are basically cookies, and on top they have some kind of glaze that is made from pumpkin seeds. They are really big fans of pumpkin seeds here. The fourth sweet that was on the counter that she was showing me is also made of pumpkin seeds, and the enmoladas that I had yesterday were also made of pumpkin seeds. So very typical for this region. Oh, they smell good. Okay, let's see. They are a lot softer than I thought. They're not really crispy. And they have a lot of glaze. But overall, I'm a fan. After lunch, I went on the green tour bus, which only cost 80 pesos, which is maybe 3.5 euros, for a 1 hour and 50-minute tour around the city. Alright, I was interrupted by my ice cream falling apart. Priorities. The green bus also takes you to the Cerro de Loreto in Guadalupe. This is where the Battle of Cinco de Mayo, so the 5th of May, was won against the French. And that was the most powerful army at the time. It is very known, Cinco de Mayo, in the United States, but it is celebrated for a very different reason. You can visit the old forts, and it is now a museum. And also from the Cerro, you have an amazing view over the city. We stopped there for about 15 minutes to take some pictures, and all of the Mexicans on the bus went for snacks. So on one side there was a stand with crisps, and with a huge heap of chicharron, which is fried pigskin. And when I first got to Mexico in 2017, I couldn't find any crisps that I liked. Well, obviously, because the Mexicans, they buy bland crisps and then they put lots of salsas and lime on it. so the crisps themselves aren't really supposed to have a lot of flavor. Anyway, they were loving it, going in for seconds. And on the other side was someone selling nieve and ice cream. And there they had fruit ice cream, and then they put salsa on it and chile and all that kind of stuff. And that was being sold much as well. So very interesting seeing all these people buy all these Mexican snacks. And I will definitely have to try some of those out myself. So yeah, I highly recommend going on that green tour bus. It was worth the money, because €3.50. I then took an Uber to the tourist train station in Puebla, and that is a free train that has a very limited timetable, so do make sure you check the times before you leave. Also to know when the train goes back. You can take the train for free. It takes about half an hour to get to Cholula. In Puebla you can see the largest pyramid in the world. That is not in height but in volume. It looks like a simple normal hill, but actually underneath the vegetation is the old Great Pyramid. In other times you can just visit it. You can go through the tunnels that are hidden beneath the pyramid. And on top of the pyramid, on top of what looks like a hill, is a big colonial church. And that church is the reason why they can't excavate the pyramid even more, because obviously the church is protected as well. And as you may or may not know, the Spanish built their churches on top of all the religious buildings of the indigenous people. I got there and I was so overwhelmed because obviously it is the national holiday and everyone has a day off, and there were hundreds of people there, so many vendors, so much noise. I got so overwhelmed, I just took off. First I hid in a church. I really wanted to visit one of the churches, which is called the Capilla Real de Naturales, but it was closed, unfortunately. But the church next to it was open, so I just sat there, where it was almost quiet, just to kind of regroup and think what I was going to do, because I couldn't see the church from down there, from the bottom of the pyramid. So I really wanted to see the church, but I couldn't go up. I couldn't see any volcanoes, and Cholula is known for being close to the Popocatépetl, which is one of the most famous volcanoes in Mexico, and I had really hoped to see them, but I had kind of given up hope already because of the clouds, so I was kind of fine with it. And then I just left to go look for some kind of cafe to kill some time before I could take the train back. And then all of a sudden I spotted a cafe that had a rooftop terrace, and I thought, this terrace might have a view over the church on the pyramid. So I went up, and lo and behold, there it was. I got the menu and I saw food and I was like, hey, doesn't food always make everything better? So I got food. And it did make everything better. And I enjoyed it in the end. I even got to see the volcanoes on the way back in the train. But they were really hidden by the clouds, obviously. But I did manage to make out some volcanoes. So I was happy in the end. On the train back, I also sat next to the loveliest Mexican family. I have to come back to Mexico basically because they have invited me to their home and to the tiniest state of Mexico. The man was like, oh, I want to have a picture with the Belgian girl. And then the mom was like, oh, can you have a picture with my son as well? So then I had to take a picture with the son as well. They were so lovely, honestly. I'm looking forward to coming back and visiting them in their home state. So a very busy day. I have seen so much of the city already, but there is a lot more I want to see tomorrow. The weather won't be as good, but that's perfect for the museums and stuff that I didn't get to visit today. I can do some more stuff inside and maybe go to a mercado and try the rest of the food on my bucket list. See you tomorrow. Hey everyone, it is a new day and I had lunch at the Mercado del Carmen. There I had a famous semita, which is a bun with sesame seeds on top of it, and they fill it with whatever you want. The most famous is a chicken milanesa or schnitzel with lots of cheese and avocado. It was so big, and I asked for a drink and it was bigger than my head. It was good though. I kind of missed some kind of sauce, but maybe that's because I don't put entire chilies and cauliflower into it. I am at the Amparo Museum, which is completely free to visit, and it is unbelievable. It is honestly one of my favorite museums. You see so much from the past cultures, the current cultures, a lot of contemporary art, but also a lot of historical objects. And I am just so excited to continue on my journey and discover so much more of Mexico, because this museum reminded me a lot of everything it has to offer. It had beautiful pictures and it was just so interesting. So if you come to Puebla, come to this museum for free. Inside the Casa de la Cultura is the Biblioteca Palafoxiana. That is the oldest library in the Americas. You can pay a small price to enter, but you can already see it from the door, which is completely free. I'm going inside the cathedral now that it's open. Can you see all these angels? Well, Puebla used to be called Puebla de los Ángeles, City of Angels. But with time it just became Puebla. It was actually the Spanish king and queen that named it that way. So that's why you can see angels everywhere. Last but not least is the Capilla del Rosario and Santo Domingo church, which is known for its gold leaf and white interior. There was a long line now with COVID and only a limited amount of people being able to go in, but luckily I had visited it a couple of years ago already. Near the city you can also find the smallest volcano in the world, the Cuexcomate geyser, that you can also visit from the inside. And in the neighborhood of Xanenetla you can see a lot of murals and street art. I ended my time in Puebla with some Arabic tacos, which have a wheat wrap, and the meat also has an oriental spice. They were a bit dry though. I prefer other tacos, definitely. Some other typical dishes that I didn't get to try were the chalupas, la pasita, which is a raisin liquor. I got to the place, but they made you order food with the drink, and I was so full already. Then there's also chanclas, which are very similar to the tortas ahogadas that I had in Guadalajara. It's a sandwich that they dip in sauce, basically. Then also mixiotes, which is meat in a spicy sauce that is wrapped in some kind of package with the outside of the leaf of the agave. And lastly, the rajas poblanos, which are strips of green chili pepper in a creamy sauce. So those things I didn't get to try, but I got to try a lot of delicious stuff. I hope you liked this video, especially if you made it this far. Thank you so much. Don't forget to subscribe and like and hit the bell notification so that you don't miss out on the following videos. In the meantime, I have been to Oaxaca, I have been to Puerto Escondido, to the beach, and now I am in the mountains in San Cristobal. And there's just so much more coming up. So subscribe and stay tuned. Bye!